Welcome to Faith and Freedom. For the next few minutes, we hope to inform, inspire, and encourage you as we discuss legal victories and challenges to your fundamental freedom and religious liberties. Faith and Freedom comes to you from Liberty Counsel, a civil liberties education and legal defense organization. Join us now as Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel, explains the latest legal issues all across this country. In the courtrooms of America, Liberty Counsel is winning the battle for your constitutional freedom.
The Pentagon now states that a pro-family group is not a hate group. I am Matt Staver, founder and chairman of Liberty Counsel. Joining me is Matt Barber, vice president of Liberty Counsel Action. Matt, Todd Starn of Fox News actually issued an article in which he said that the U.S. Army defines Christian ministry as a domestic hate group. And when that went public and American Family Association was the subject of that particular presentation on an Army facility, the Pentagon came in, and now they said that the person who gave that presentation was not authorized or speaking for the U.S. Army, and therefore also said that American Family Association, that was classified as a hate group by this presentation or this presenter, is not a hate group.
Yeah.
So that's good news, but the problem is that this seems to be persistent. We've had several situations of this happening on military bases throughout the year.
Yeah, excuse me if I'm a little bit skeptical here of the Pentagon taking the position. Time after time after time now, the instances are mounting where the government is apparently utilizing the propagandist material from the radical extremist group, the Southern Poverty Law Center, which at one point in time served a good purpose in the United States, working towards civil rights for African Americans and so forth, and identifying actual hate groups like the Ku Klux Klan and the Aryan Nation and other even violent hate groups. But now they've gotten into the business of smearing Christianity and attacking biblical Christians as hate groups. The American Family Association, the Family Research Council are a couple. Well, really, the Pentagon under this Obama administration has adopted their materials, their propaganda, and has been using it as a hammer for Christian individuals in the military and troops and throughout the federal government, frankly, in the Department of Justice and elsewhere. Well, now they're backpedaling a little bit and saying, okay, they're not a hate group. So by saying now that that they're not a hate group, they're admitting that the Southern Poverty Law Center doesn't know what it's talking about and is smearing essentially the American Family Association as a hate group. So this is an embarrassment for the Southern Poverty Law Center, among other things, and it's some egg on their face as well.
Yeah, you know, what happened is that it's happened a couple of times this year where we've heard about these slide presentations that were presented on military bases to some military people, some of them reservists, and in that presentation, in one that came up, the first one that I recall, basically said that evangelical Christians and Roman Catholics, they are essentially domestic terrorists or they're hate groups because of their particular views on human sexuality. And so that was one of the first ones. There was another one that came out. And then this one here had a photograph of someone who's sitting in the classroom with soldiers in front of him, and there's the screen on the slide, and it actually says American Family Association. And it listed Fred Phelps as one of the people there. Well, Fred Phelps has nothing to do with American Family Association. He's the pastor of Westboro Baptist Church, and he has nothing to do with AFA, and AFA does not endorse or consent or approve how he engages in his rhetoric. But nevertheless, the presenter said that AFA was one of the hate groups. And not only that, but that you are prohibited from associating with or supporting, even financially, such as a contribution, a hate group. Well, the chaplain raised the question and said, "Are you sure about that?" The presenter said that he was sure. He challenged the presenter, and the person who actually released this information to Todd Starnes of Fox News said that he listens to American Family Radio and supports American families. So under this presentation, he would be in violation of military orders by associating with a so-called hate group. That's what went public, and then the Pentagon, as a result of that, came back and said, no, they're not a hate group, that the George Wright, an Army spokesman at the Pentagon, told Todd Starnes of Fox News that the slide was not produced by the Army and it does not reflect their policy or doctrine.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something called plausible deniability. We see once you've had a dozen or so of these cases around the country where official presentations are being given, calling Christian and Catholic organizations because of their position on life, because of their position on natural marriage, calling them because of the biblical position on human sexuality, hate groups, and we're starting to see here that this is becoming systematic. So they can deny it, but the evidence certainly calls into question that whether or not they're just engaging in plausible deniability here.
Well, in fact, Tim Wildman, who is the head of American Family Association, said that he doesn't believe the Army's excuse. He says, quote, "We're hearing from too many people across the country who've witnessed these training sessions." He said, "We know this is going on in the Army and the Air Force." So it's nice. I applaud the Pentagon, but the Pentagon needs to make sure that this doesn't happen again across the board, because the question is, how did all of these begin? Yeah. Obviously they have a source in the Southern Poverty Law Center because they cite the Southern Poverty Law Center. We know that there's been a recent FOIA request, and in that FOIA request that has been revealed, information has surfaced about the Southern Poverty Law Center and the military's use of their classification of organizations as hate groups. So this has to really be not just this statement, it has to be something that is remedied across the board so this doesn't happen again.
Well, the Pentagon, what they need to do is disavow any association with the Southern Poverty Law Center or any of their highly politically charged propagandist materials. And that's what it is. The Southern Poverty Law Center has a specific, quote, progressive, a radical agenda. They have embraced the entire homosexual activist wish list, and they are trying to push it. And we see, unfortunately, the big picture here is that we see Christians within the military under attack by this Obama administration. He has displayed overt hostility toward biblical Christianity, and there certainly seems to be afoot an attempt to secularize our U.S. Armed services and to push to the margins or even out of the military those who embrace a biblical worldview.
That's right. In the American Family Association said that we are a mainstream evangelical pro-family group. We don't hate anybody. We have strong feelings on moral values, and they should not be classified as a hate group. To put them into the same category as the skinheads, the Aryan Nation, the Ku Klux Klan is just irresponsible. And of all places in the military that was designed to accommodate people of faith through the chaplain systems, what we've seen over the past several years is that chaplains are being censored in what they can say. They're being constrained in even exercising their own faith. Chaplains are unique because they have a commission as an officer by the military, but they have that commission only because of their denomination that supports them. If that is revoked, then they lose the commission. So they're in a very unique position. It goes all the way back to George Washington to try to accommodate people of faith and provide these chaplain services. Of all places, the military ought to be accommodating, not hostile to Christianity and people of faith.
Well, and it's worse than just irresponsible. To use the Southern Poverty Law Center's materials here is reckless and it's dangerous. We've already seen at least one instance where a homosexual activist using and citing as his motivation the Southern Poverty Law Center's guilt by false association smearing of the Family Research Council as a hate group like the Aryan Nation. Floyd Corkins tried to kill everyone at the Family Research Council. So we've already seen one tie to an act of domestic terrorism by the Southern Poverty Law Center here. That those two are connected. They're tied. So the military has no business using the Southern Poverty Law Center's dangerous materials.
Not that the Southern Poverty Law Center actually engaged in that activity, but the person who did use the Southern Poverty Law Center's map and information, and based on that information, went to Family Research Council, and ultimately tried to kill people. That's a kind of system we can't have. We may have disagreements on views, and we can share those civilly, but that kind of violence is not called for. For the military to rely upon that kind of classification is just irresponsible. Go to Liberty Counsel's website, lc.org. Remember Liberty Counsel in your prayers. We advance religious freedom, the sanctity of human life and the family through litigation, education, and through public policy. We can only do that through your prayers as you pray for this ministry, and we encourage you to continue to do so. We certainly covet and need your prayers, and also for your regular financial commitment to Liberty Counsel. All of the resources and services that we provide, we do it at no cost to those we serve. This is a ministry, and we are serving because you stand with us to extend your reach all across the country. Go to lc.org for a contribution right there online. That's lc.org.
You have been listening to Faith and Freedom with Liberty Counsel. We hope that we have motivated you to stand up for your faith, family, and freedom. We can accomplish a lot when we work together. Get informed and get involved today. Sign up for our free monthly newsletter, The Liberator. We will send it out to you free of charge. Stay informed with our Liberty Alert email updates. Just click on the website at www.lc.org or call us at 1-800-671-1776. Tune in next time to learn more about your rights right here on Faith and Freedom.